All right, we're now live. My guest today is Chad Datema, and he's from Michigan. He's also actually been around in a few different places in America, um, researching. So, Chad, what got you started in Bigfoot? You know, what was the defining moment that you knew that Sasquatch was real and you were having an encounter?
We'll start out. My first interest in Bigfoot was I'd seen the Patterson Gimlin film when I was really young. I was born in 1969, and that was filmed on my birthday in 1967. I saw that later in life. You know, parents told me, oh no, people came out, it's a hoax. But what really sparked Bigfoot to me was my favorite TV show growing up, The $6 Million Man. Okay.
Yeah.
There's two episodes of Bigfoot. There's one episode, and then I don't know, a season or two later, they came out with the final episode of them being friends. So that really kind of got my interest in Bigfoot as a kid.
Right.
Now, as growing up, you know, I didn't think Bigfoot was real, and I thought, you know, it was just like one. This is growing up as a child.
Right. People think that.
So for my interest from a young child is just gone, and I grew up. I'm a hunter, outdoors person. I love country, even though I've lived in the city lots of times. Sometimes I've lived in the country.
Right.
But what really got me was I don't even remember the date, man. Like I said, I'm 50. Okay, I was in my early 20s. Living in southern Michigan, we went deer hunting, and one day we decided to drive to the Upper Peninsula. Okay, I mean it's like a 7-hour drive to where we went from where I was. So I go up there with my good friend and his best friend, and we go to Marquette, Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. We drive from southern Michigan all the way to there. We go out hunting. This is my first encounter. Okay, I don't even realize it's Bigfoot at the time. So, but I'll get to that. We get up there. They both go one way, and I go another way. We're parked out on fire trails. We are in the middle of the Upper Peninsula. There is nothing around. There isn't a hospital for who knows. I don't know how many miles from where we were.
It's gonna take a while.
Yeah. So we're out. I mean, we're back on fire trails that are cut in case there's a forest fire to put them out back in the middle of nowhere, up to the farthest north Michigan you can get, pretty much. So, you know, I go walking in. I don't even remember how far I walked. It's that long ago, man. It's like 30 years ago. And I find this swamp. And in this swamp is just surrounded by thick brush, impenetrable brush. But where I find the area I happen to find the swamp, there's like a clear, wide opening. So I kind of walk in and I look, and this is a pretty big swamp. It's not like an Everglades swamp. I mean, it's like a 2-3 acre swamp. I look and I'm like, man,
right.
And the deer are going to come out their easiest way. So I go set up my chair, I don't know, like 50 yards away, kind of next to a tree, behind a tree. And I'm sitting there. So I set up and I'm sitting there and I'm just waiting, man. Hours go by. I'm waiting for the big buck to come out of the swamp.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm hearing something like behind me, and I'm kind of like paying attention to it. It doesn't sound like a deer. Okay, I've hunted long. I know what 4 feet sound like compared to 2 feet walking. There's a huge difference. So I'm kind of looking, and as I'm looking towards the walking sound I hear, right in front of me at the swamp, I don't know how far. It was quite a ways away. It was in the thick stuff. I hear like it sounded like clicking of a tongue, like, but really, really loud. Okay,
Oh, right.
and so all of a sudden my attention's there. Now I'm locked on to where I think I heard the sound, and then all of a sudden I hear the same tongue clicking behind back where I heard something walking. So now my attention's there, and so I'm sitting there, and my heart's beating. I'm thinking, it's a deer or something. I mean, I heard the footprints, but I knew they didn't sound. I didn't know what it was,
Right.
but my heart's racing, and as I'm looking back behind me again, then the tongue click happens back where it happened the first time in the slump. All of a sudden, I get this like overwhelming feeling of like life or death type of thing. Like, get out of there.
Hmm.
Here I am. I've got a 12 gauge shotgun. Okay, and it's going slug, buckshot, buckshot, buckshot. And I'm now all of a sudden I'm just, why am I scared? I've got my 12 gauge shotgun. I could take
Right.
out pretty much anything. I could take out a bear, but just
Bear or moose.
yeah, this overwhelming feeling of fear came over me. I got up and I ran out of there. I mean, I literally ran out of there, and it was. I think I was at least a mile from the vehicle where we had parked in the fire trail where I hiked in.
Hmm.
I got back there and you just waited for the other two guys I was with to get back. People have said, it was probably them messing with you. Why would they do that? Why would they risk being shot? And number two, they both adamantly admit that they had walked the other way. But I didn't put this like two and two together and think that this was Bigfoot when this happened. My interest really was sparked like about 20 years ago when I was 30. So about 10 years after that, when all this Bigfoot stuff started coming out, when the internet got popular and
Oh
things
yeah.
being put on TV,
Yep.
and that's what really got my interest, and that's what caused me to put two and two together and start researching further into Bigfoot. Um, I was an armchair researcher for a long time until I met Mark Zasky, and with meeting him and talking to him and being educated by him as to his the way he does things
Hmm.
helped me a lot. He actually he's the guy that convinced me that I need to get in the field, and I eventually did. Jeez, man, I don't know. 5 years ago, 6 years ago is when I first started actually going in the field for Bigfoot,
Hmm.
and I was like utterly amazed at after learning from him and learning what I learned from other people from doing armchair research and following things they said about structures and things. The stuff I found and I would attribute to Bigfoot, it like it started making even more and more sense. And then I started them having encounters. Um, you know, yeah, trees fall in the woods. You can go out and find a structure all over the place. But if you walk
Right.
into an area and you find a structure, and then you find other structures, and you find glyphs, and you find this all in an area, but then none of that stuff is anywhere heavy outside the area, that's got to say something. Why are all these trees and branches interwoven and stacked here, just in this little area? But anywhere else outside the area, you don't find that. You don't find all the intricate, small, subtle details that they do. My first encounter, I think, is what got me. Okay, the first time I went out overnight, I went out. Well, I think Bono Russell entitled it 5 days, 4 nights, or something like that with the Ohio Grassman. And my interview with him, I was out with
Uh,
Richard Treemaster Moore. I drove from Michigan to Ohio to
okay.
the border of Portage County, and I forget the county he was in. Portage County, Ohio, has the highest number of sightings. we had so much crazy stuff that happened in those 5 days, 4 nights, that that's what really truly sold me that they were real. And after that, well, that sold me there was something out there. Okay. After that, when I got back to Michigan, that's when I really started researching hard, even all by myself out in the woods. And some of the things I've found, some of the things I've seen, some of the things that have happened to me. uh, I mean, what else? What else could it be? I mean,
Well,
big, big. Oh no, go ahead.
oh, sorry to interrupt. What else could it be? Do you think any was it deer, another
No,
person?
no.
So in your so take us through what was the defining moment here in Michigan?
A visual sighting in the daylight.
And let's walk us through.
My very first visual sighting in the daylight. This is after my sighting at night in Ohio. But I try to like not try to call that a sighting. I mean, I like to call what's very clear and evident was a creature about 3.5 foot tall that ran on all fours. This
Mm.
is the area that I've taken you to,
Yep.
Blake. Okay. I was pushing through where we've been through, which is determined to be dens and nests and stuff now, and I pushed through some really thick stuff, and then all of a sudden something in front of me was moving. It wasn't. It was loud. It wasn't like a rabbit. It wasn't even like a fox or a coyote, and it was moving kind of like me, breaking branches, but moving as the more I moved towards it, the more it moved, and I keep pursuing it for through a thick about 100 yards of stuff. It took me, I don't know, 10 minutes to get through this 100 yards. But as I'm pursuing it, then I'm hearing something louder following me. So, which is making me nervous. I'm out there all alone, but I've got to get out of there anyway. So I keep pushing towards where whatever's in front of me, it keeps moving away from me. I hit this little clear trail, which you've been on, Blake,
Mm.
and I got to the trail, and whatever's behind me is still moving. Once I got to that trail, I figured whatever was in front of me went across the trail because it's really thick across the trail too. This is like, it's not a game trail, but it's basically about the size of a game trail. It's a trail that's not well manicured, and it was an old
Right. It's,
for people to ride bikes.
yeah, people aren't
So I
using it.
go
It
off
seems
to
like.
the left. Yeah, I go off to the left on this trail where I come out of this thick part. I don't know. I go 100 and 150 yards, and I find a perfect clear spot to go back in instead of going through the thick where the thing, whatever it was, crossed.
Mm.
So I go in and I get into like this good area, and I'm standing around. I'm seeing structures, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like amazed. And then all of a sudden, I hear from the direction I came out of that, I hear like a high pitched like squeal, like a wee. In the minute, and when it does that, I take my attention off what I'm looking at, and I look back, semi behind me, towards where I would have came out of that trail, which is where that sound come from. The minute I look that way, all of a sudden I hear the scurrying on the ground in front of me. So I hear the noise. Now my attention is back there, and I see this creature, 3.5 feet tall, running like a dog, kind of, but not, but on all fours and like fast. I mean, this thing ran fast, and I watched the thing run. I don't know, at least 30 yards, 20 yards, between 20 and 30 yards. I watched this thing run in front of me, and it was less than 100 feet away from me, and it ran in right across this clear open area, right to where that sound was. That like high pitched squeal, whatever it did. Maybe it was a whistle. I don't know. It's just high pitched. And then I knew what I saw. Okay, And this is in the winter. I mean, there's ice. This is about the time of year right now. There's no monkeys out there. Okay, there's no
No,
monkeys running. There's no
no.
chimpanzees out here, and this is kind of what it looked like, but not quite. I mean, it's
Mhm.
the closest you can compare it to. It would be like a chimpanzee flying through the woods at 30 plus miles an hour on all fours right in front of me.
So it was pretty fast then. At you say 34 or 30 or it was trucking along.
Probably faster than my dog can run, and my dog's fast. I mean, this
Right.
thing is
And it was
fast.
small. You said about 3 foot, 3 foot tall.
I mean, it wasn't even stood up.
It didn't.
If I were to measure it, what I saw, but it's hunched down on all fours, it probably wasn't 26 inches from the ground to the highest part when it was
Okay.
on the ground.
Yeah.
But it was weird is you would think that as it's running like that, it would like go up and down. No, man. It's running on all fours, and there's very little up and down. Very little up and down.
Hmm.
It's something
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Well, it makes in this area it definitely would be easier for them to travel on all fours. I have to say because the area is really thick, and I know some places that we would have to definitely be on all fours to get through. So so then you knew, and then what? So when you got home, what was your first thought? What then?
I thought, I can't believe that they're actually really in this little metro park.
Here, yeah, like
And
here in Lower Michigan,
yeah, that's
our
what I'm
planet.
thinking. I believed it, but then I thought possibility, but then because of the structures and things, but then when I encountered this, because this is like, I encountered this on my second or third time out there,
Hmm.
is when I saw this. So I'd already been out there and found structures and things. I'd been out there with Tom Cameron, and we found footprints, man. Tom Cameron has great footprint photos that we found out there. Um, so what I thought is, well, you don't leave fish to find fish, is kind of what I thought. And so I just continued to go out there.
Hmm.
And after talking to people, some people are against gifting, some people are for it.
Right.
I thought, why not? Why not start leaving things out there? So I did, and I spent a lot of time. Every day, every other day, I would go out there, leave a bag of apples, quarts of strawberries. I even left a box of Girl Scout cookies. Uh, I did in the
Spoiling them
box.
a little bit then.
The bag was ripped open, no chew marks in it, and all the Girl Scout cookies were gone.
Yeah. So
I was
take me
at
through
I
what was happening,
something's eating the stuff.
and it's not small animals, not raccoon or possum climbing up a tree or something.
No, man, because the way that I leave the stuff, and I've made it trickier and trickier over the years because of the criticism I've not criticism, because people say, "Well, you'd be
Right.
surprised what a raccoon can do." A raccoon can climb a tree. Raccoons have opposable thumbs. They can do all this and all that.
Right.
And
That's a typical response.
yeah, so I said, well, let's make it to where like a raccoon can't do it without me knowing. So I would
Right.
hang it on long dead branches. I'm tall. I'm 6'8". I can reach over 8 foot high. Okay, tiptoes and then pull a branch down. I reach up, jump up, grab a 9 foot branch, pull it down, jab it on the end of this little thin branch, let it go back up. You've seen, Blake. How high are them apples, man?
Yeah, they're 8, 9 foot up, and they're on
Okay.
little thinner
I'm
than my pinky sticks that I don't think even a 10-pound coon or
and
would get up
and
there
a
without
squirrel.
us knowing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would break the branch. And if a squirrel could go out there, but they're not
Yeah,
going to
good.
take they're not going to take the apple. They're going to take bites out of it. You're going to come back, which I found lots of times. I found this lots of times where I've hung it on the branch, came back the next day, and there's just a couple little bites out of it. Yeah, that's a squirrel.
Right.
but the squirrel can't take it off the branch. It just can't.
Right.
It's
Even if it ate it in the apple fall, it still would. There would be remnants on the ground of small game eating it.
squirrel's not going to pick up a whole apple and run off in the
And
woods
well,
with
you
it.
place multiple apples out there, so it's not just one out there. It's
They're all gone. Every time, man. Every time. I've put apples out there in the morning before work and came back in late afternoon and checked them, and they're all gone. I've hung mesh bags full of apples around a branch that nothing's in daylight, that nothing's going to get to. If a raccoon gets out there, it can't walk on the pencil thin branch.
mhm.
They just can't. Have a hole ripped in the bag, every apple gone, not one remnant on the ground.
Yeah. Me and James were out there, and there was a bag still out there. Actually, you had left up, and
From 2 years ago.
yeah, from the last time you were out there and gifting and stuff, and yeah, it was ripped open, and small game animals, they'd bite it and bite it and bite it, and it wasn't like that. It was completely ripped open. And if it was a person, why wouldn't they take the bag down? They take all the apples, they wouldn't take the bag down. That it doesn't make sense.
Okay, if it was a person, which that's another theory that it's a person doing it. How would they know 2 years later that I went out there a couple weeks ago with you and hung a bunch of apples and then went back there 2 days later and they're all gone? So
Right. Right? No, they wouldn't. So, and so it's not that. So what else has happened in this area?
I've camped out there a couple times. One time I camped out with a guy that was working with me. Him and my Great Dane went out there, camped out. We cooked and stuff, grilled just overnight. But that night, had one single tree knock. I was actually happened to be live. That video is gone. Facebook got rid of all that stuff. Thanks to Facebook. Uh, I was live while the knock happened, and people were watching my live. Like Mark Zaski was actually watching my live then, and he's like, suck up your testicles and go after that sound. He's like,
Yeah,
go after that sound. Don't be a bee. Go after that sound. And it's like,
that sounds like Mark.
and yeah, and well, I'm just out there. I don't even have a flashlight when this is going on. I'm just walking towards it in the dark. I get to a point to where I need a flashlight for protection.
Right.
And so I yelled at my to Chris, the guy that worked with me. I said, "Get over here, bring the flashlight." Oh, by the way, while all this was going on, my Great Dane always wanted to be on my side. She was hiding in the tent while this was going on. Because I'm yelling to bring the flashlight because I'm hearing stuff moving around right in front of me, like walking back and forth. And so finally, Chris understands what I'm saying. I mean, he's 200 feet away from me. I was 200 foot from the tent and the fire. He figures out what I'm saying. He comes walk, and I tell him, don't turn the flashlight on. And what's he do? Turns it on. So I'm like, that's the last thing you want to do is turn a flashlight on unless you're scared. Okay, I wasn't scared, but you don't. The reason you don't want to turn it on is because now they're gonna leave. They're you shine the light in their eyes, they're blind in the middle of the night. They can't.
Right.
See.
That's what you are going to use it for. Is you said protection?
Well, I was gonna before I started working towards that noise. That's why I wanted them to bring me the flashlight. I wish I had it on me. I would have used it if I felt threatened. I would have turned it on. I mean,
right. Try to blind them.
Yeah. They just don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like it. It deters them, and yeah, maybe it blinds them. Maybe it doesn't, but it definitely deters them. So, so what
as
else?
different as they are from you and me, Blake, as different as they are from you and me, if your eyes are adjusted to the night and I shine a flashlight in your eyes and I take it away, you think you're going to be able to see?
Probably not.
Okay.
So, what happened? Did they move away? Since
Uh, well,
flash on, they move away. What happened?
well, I'm going to start by something really weird happened out of nowhere, but I don't want to bring it up because I I just don't understand it, and it's almost like woo-like, and I don't buy into all the woo. So, but something really weird happened
Okay. Well, what
there.
happened? This is Lost Cryptids. What was it?
Okay, all of a sudden, dude, all of a sudden, this was on live. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, it's a calm night. All of a sudden, the wind picked up, a big wind came, okay? So it was like, it sounded like a wind. So the wind blocked, all of a sudden now we can't hear him moving. This wind lasted for like 20 or 30 seconds and then just stopped, and then we couldn't hear him anymore. So,
Huh.
dude, it was tripped, okay? So, but I,
That is interesting.
yeah, so I'm still on. This all happened during this live. I wish I had it, dude.
I
I
used to
wish I
watch
still.
live. I've seen some of the stuff, and I remember you were on the camp out. I didn't watch all of it, so I didn't see this part. But yeah, you were out there a lot doing live videos all the time.
So I asked my friend and mentor Mark Zasky. I'm like, hey, Mark, should I do a howl? Should I do a yell? He didn't answer. He didn't answer. He didn't answer. I said, you know. So I went ahead and did it anyways. I was like, oh, you've heard my yell in the one video, right? That I sent you from Nuevo.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you
that's
gotta re-
what. Yeah, that's what I did. It's pretty deep bass and pretty loud. So I did that after we couldn't hear him anymore, after that wind picked up for 20, 30 seconds, and then now we can't hear him. Then we go back to camp. Well, all of a sudden now, Chris is like feeling like, man, I don't feel good. Something's wrong. I got to lay down. Now I'm
right?
feeling all dizzy and throwing up. Okay. So we both, I believe, because of that yell, ticked them off, and we got EMF'd, electromagnetic frequency,
Or zapped. It's yeah. You think
or
it's
that
EMF poisoning?
people,
Um,
yeah,
some
it's
people think
what,
it's infrasound being zapped.
yeah, it's, what people call infrasound. It's the same. It's the same thing basically, except it's not infrasound in my belief. They can infrasound, so don't think I'm not saying that they can't, because I've been infrasound. When you get screamed at and it reverberates through your chest, shakes your heart, shakes the fluid in your ears, but that's audible. They can also do it non-audible, which is what I call EMF, or you can call it zapping. So I'm throwing up outside the tent. It was like, it was, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes before either of us were back out of the tent. Well, I was outside, but like back up and coherent. Though this whole time, my dog has not left the tent ever since that knock. And I started walking in there. My dog normally would have followed me.
Right. It's a dog, and it's a Great Dane. You said so. It's a big dog.
Yeah, 180 pounds.
Yeah. That's yeah. So okay. So you guys are puking. What in the dog? What's the dog doing? Is it curled up, shaking, or is it
I'm
in the
outside the
tent?
tent puking. He's in there laying down. He didn't get sick. He just didn't feel right.
Okay.
My dog's just, I don't know what my dog was doing in the tent because I was outside
Okay.
puking.
Right. Right.
And yeah, I do. I drink beer, but no, I wasn't throwing up from being drunk. Okay. I mean,
Right. Okay. So how long did that last? What did anything else happen that night? Um,
actually, no, nothing else really happened that night.
so how long was the effects lasting for then?
I mean, time's different when this is happening. I mean, for me to probably about at least 15 to 20 minutes, at least, maybe a little longer.
Right.
He was messed up. I was messed up. But my dog did come out of the tent later that night. When I started feeling better, he started feeling better, and he came out of the tent. My dog came out of the tent finally. So it's like they left. But where we set that camp up was over by the Impala. You know where that is, right?
Yep.
which where it was straight line would have been like 300 yards from their den.
Right, which is a really thick spot that you think they hang out a lot or sleep. So, um, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Now, um, real quick, I guess you went. Now you went to other places around the U.S. Do you want to talk about them? Like, you went down to uh, Florida and had a little activity down there. You were with Mark Zasky down there.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I've been to Ohio
Right. Yep.
researching. I've been to Virginia, West Virginia, I believe it was. I went out. Fred Canning, Connie Fox. I went out with them for a weekend, and I've been to multiple places in Florida. I've been out on a members camp out with Mark Zasky from Crypto Reality. He's Crypto Reality's his page. Um, and I went out with some other people, Stacy Brown in northern Florida. I forget the city, but I'm not going to name the park because it's the park they research in.
Right. That's okay. Yeah.
Just in fairness to them, I don't want to name the park because it's their
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. You want to be respectful of areas people are researching. Yes. So, what did anything happen down there? I know you had something with Mark at least. What about the other guys? I'm not familiar with their. Yep.
Found a gigantic X structure. One night we all went out and split up. I went alone. Yeah, I got growled at and stuff. Um, that's pretty much what happened there. Other than structure finding and, the 10 minutes of something growling at me, nothing nothing really happened there.
But
But
it wasn't another animal. It wasn't a bear or a Florida panther.
I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to say it was a Bigfoot. I can't. I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. That's
All I
fair
know,
enough.
I was growled at. That's
Right.
all I know that one. But
Yeah.
still interesting, man. It's their research area. They wouldn't be in there for nothing. And I
Yeah.
found,
Exactly.
I mean, these researchers wouldn't. I was invited there. They wouldn't be out there researching if they didn't have. And in fact, I think it's where Stacy Brown got his thermal. I'm not sure. You ever see
Right.
the
Right around
footage?
there. I'm sure.
I I don't know. I never asked him, but I think, or it's near the area where he got it.
Oh,
Don't
going out with them, like you said,
quote
they're
me on
right.
what was it.
I was saying, like you were saying, they're in the area for a reason, researching. So, you know, viable spot in their opinion. So,
In fact, the movie he did, The Pit, this I do know from talking with him, is based on that area. It's not about Bigfoot, but this area has tons of sinkholes,
right, right,
clear spring water, rivers and streams, lots of sinkholes. I mean, sinkholes, you've got to be careful in these woods, or it'll be overgrown with grass, and you'll step and you'll fall 30 feet down into a sinkhole because it's all overgrown with a little hole
right.
overgrown with
Yeah,
grass, and you see it. And yep, I saw many of those sinkholes out there. That's what the movie the Pit
the pit. Yep, that's his
with
movie.
him with Stacy Brown and Les Stroud.
Yep.
He based it because of that area, because of all the pits.
Yeah, and that's a real scenario and pretty crazy terrain. You got to watch out for. Up here, we don't have things like that, but in a swamp, you got to watch out. You get into some muck, and you can get some, like quicksand, get sucked in there, and you know.
Or
So,
fall and get seriously jabbed in an artery or something.
oh yeah, if you, yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly. People don't think about that.
you
If you
fall
fall,
down in a swamp and a stick penetrates your femoral artery,
oh,
and you're in the middle of a swamp, you're done.
if
You're done.
you get stuck with
There's
a
no
stick anyway,
tourniquet gonna help you.
you get stuck with a stick because you fell down or you poke your eye because you ran into something.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
Get it in your jugular, fall down, and one just happened to get your jugular.
Yeah,
And it,
yeah, because like you said, I was out. Me and James went out to this area where here in Michigan where you were gifting, and I filmed a little bit and working on trying to put the content out here on the YouTube channel. And so that's going to come out here in the next, hopefully this week. And just to talk, I guess, a little bit about it. The area, yeah, you wouldn't think it was, Sasquatch. It's not like some remote mountaintop with, no one goes there, right? There's, it's here in Lower Michigan. It's next, kind of next to a populated area, but going in there with you, we actually had some activity and captured a few things on camera that you guys can see on the film. But yeah, there, in my opinion, you got stuff happening in that spot, and in fact, that we had one there that day. So
well, two people saw something. Three of
yeah,
us heard something.
yeah. A little spoiler alert: Chad and
I
James
still saw.
actually
We
seen
saw a skunk.
something. Yeah, you
We
seen a
saw a
skunk.
skunk.
Chad and James seen a skunk, and so you guys can watch the video. It'll come out, and uh, it's basically a whole day trip, and it's nothing fancy or anything, but you guys will enjoy it. Um, I'm gonna have a separate video of the evidence that we got, and we'll have to do a show. Me and you and James will have to do a show about the experience a bit more. But yeah, we're gonna continue to go there and do some things, work on the area. We're gonna try to get some interaction. What's your opinion about how successful that's gonna be? Do you think we're gonna have some friendly interaction because you've had a mix of good and bad things, I guess, happen to you over the years you've been there?
They know exactly who I am. Okay, I'm telling you, they know. They knew when I went in after I was in Florida for 2 years and came back. I went in there. They knew exactly who I am. I think we can get good interaction. I've learned. I've learned the hard way. I've learned. I've in the past I've tend to be have been very assertive with them and very um, disruptive and foregoing into their areas. I've learned that that upsets them. So if we keep our boundaries, I really think that we will get good interaction. If we show them respect, I mean, I think
Exactly.
that's going to be the key.
Exactly. Like you said, you haven't been there in 2 years. I know you went a couple months ago. Went there, but when we went there, we put up apples, and I usually tend to shy away from the gifting with food because of habitation and habituation. I mean, but it's your thing. You've been doing it, so we did it, and a couple days later, yeah, the apples were gone, uh, completely gone, and so we're gonna try to do some more things. I think hopefully we're gonna get some evidence. That's the main goal. Is we're gonna try to get some evidence, and honestly,
Get some more evidence. We
well,
already have some.
yeah, I was kind of disappointed in myself because when you and James seen this thing, I was literally no more than 30.
What, that skunk we saw?
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
the skunk you guys seen. I was 30 seconds off from
Yeah.
filming.
You seen
I
the
filmed the
way
area. It could be in the frame. 30 seconds before you guys seen it. And then I stopped filming on my dumb part. So always keep the camera running, folks. And so that was the first time going out there. So I think hopefully we can get some good evidence for everyone and show everyone. We got
over a
evidence
summer.
we're gonna show, but I mean,
For sure.
yeah, if everyone has a camera going and stuff, I think we could have got a something on film, honestly. But we were scouting around and stuff, and I think James and me coming in a little bit where, I guess we were prepared, but we're checking out the area more, and I didn't expect to see a skunk or anything, or for you guys to see a skunk,
or whatever. What happened to us right before we saw the skunk?
right? Right. So,
No spoiler alert. Just saying something happened right before we saw the skunk.
yeah, you guys were feeling the force a bit.
Yeah. At the same time, man. At
Yeah,
both of us.
it was,
Because
yeah, and we got a number of evidence of stuff that they build, and they left behind some stuff that is really interesting, and I think some folks are gonna, um, hopefully, it makes some folks happy, and they realize that here in Lower Michigan, we got squashes, and they're not just a few; they're actually a lot more than people would ever realize. I think, or think. I mean,
that's the
so
same everywhere, though, man. Like Florida.
that's what I
Nobody
keep
would even imagine how many
hearing.
are
Yeah,
there.
that's what I keep hearing. It's always the numbers. People always ask, how many is there, and you hear these numbers of, oh, there's no more than like 300 in a state, like Michigan or something. I think I heard one time, but
That's bull crap,
I
man.
think it's way higher from my own
And
research, from your research, and even going in your area and getting some
it's much higher.
funky activity. I think in the first time we went there, that it shows that there's a lot more than just a few. Every I so I well, I think it's because people don't go outside at night. That's what it is. And at night,
And people that are walking through this park aren't looking for Bigfoot.
no,
They're
no,
they're not.
no, they're not going off trail. Actually, it's really hard to go off trail. Honestly, in a lot of places, you have to go on all fours. In summer, it will be like that. The foliage,
You had to crawl under that tree, didn't you? What do you think pushed that tree over that little trail to block it? Think it just happened to fall that way and get all those sticks
uh,
stacked on
yeah, that was a little spot where it was an old trail. No one uses it anymore because
it?
of
Nope.
it,
It's too
there's that
black.
exactly,
Yeah.
it's actually blocked. And I think they made it. It extends their area out and keeps people from going in. And one thing that's really creepy is there's a lot of missing dogs. Uh, Over the years, you say you've seen the posters up there, right?
Yep.
And recently, when you and James went back to check the apples and all that, put more up. There's a lady looking for her dog.
Yep.
Like they, kind of have a snack every
She
once in a
said
while.
she's in the neighborhood right next to it. She said my dog was in the yard this morning and now it's gone.
Yeah, this place, it's not, it's not in the wilderness at all, but it's enough in the country where I feel that they are sneaking in there, hanging out here, hanging around because there's no hunting, and people stay on the trails, and so private land that no one probably goes on that much, besides little kids, little dogs. Uh, so the area is good, in my opinion. James would agree if we had him on here.
The
So
best way to describe it is it's not a dense woods. There's some old trees in it, but not like ancient trees. Well, there's a couple I haven't shown you yet. There's a couple ancient trees.
yeah,
But what it is, all overgrowth. It's all overgrowth. It's thick overgrowth. And when you get into their area open, it's like a room. I mean, how would you describe it, Blake? When we get into the area, I tell you that's where they are. You know where I told you not to go any further and all that, and you know the area we're in. What's it like? You get in the middle of this thicket. It's thick everywhere, but in the middle here, it's like a room almost.
yeah, it's opened up, and actually, you guys, you watch the video. I'll be out soon. We go to this one spot, and it's really cleaned up in there. It looked like it's really hollowed out, and it looks cleaned up. There's a lot of manipulation which we filmed, and in summer it's gonna be interesting because we filmed, in winter. Obviously, things are different, but in summer it'd be real interesting. That spot looks
It,
like it's manipulated in a way to like funnel deer in a certain spot, but also it's right where they hang out because it's so open. And right there's a spot where it actually looks like a tunnel in summer with all the leaves and stuff. It would be a tunnel. I know that looking at it, I would have to crawl in there. So it's a tunnel, and we found some good things right next to it. So people can watch that. It's coming up soon, and it's interesting. It's an interesting spot. It's definitely manipulated, and deer can't do that. Deer wouldn't do that. A raccoon's not stacking stuff, doing things. So, what do you think about it, Chad? What do you think about what we what happened with us? And what's your plan? What's your let's switch topics a bit. What's your plans and goals for this year? What's your goal for 2000?
uh, to spend a lot of time in the area that's close to me that I already know for sure they're at. To spend some time, I just got back into Michigan like in October. Spend some time with other researchers in Michigan. Spend time with you, Blake, and just collaborate our research together. And I mean, I heard there's things coming up. I heard there's plans for sometime this spring.
Yeah, me.
Can you tell
Yeah,
me about it, Blake?
yeah. I had this guy. I messaged him. Had wanted him on my show, and then all of a sudden he invited me to go to a nice hot spot uh, up north. And oh well, Chad, you kind of threw it in my lap, and now it's turned into this big expedition. Actually, is what it is. We got 8 people are supposed to go. Uh, we got a lot of equipment coming. We got actually a few different Michigan researchers. They're planning to go. We got people from Wisconsin coming over on a ferry. We got everything pretty much set up to where it's going to be the real deal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good area. Really, it's a lot different than here in Lower Michigan. It's actually the wilderness. We're going to be camping off the trails. We will actually have a cabin uh, to recharge our electronics, to take showers and stuff if need be if the weather is too bad. But we're going to be in the woods for hopefully 5 days, 6 nights, 5 days, I think, something like that. As long as we can, we're going to be filming as much as we can. Basically, um, anytime we're leaving the camp or we feel we're having activity, we're turning it on. We're all of us are going to have equipment, video cameras. We got night vision. Multiple people have night vision. Multiple people have flares, thermal. We got a drone, a professional drone flyer, photographer with his tech, his gear, and we got some tricks and plans and stuff that we're going to try to bring these Sasquatches in. We're going to have some interaction. And Chad, you've had interaction there. Let's tell us that story. What happened there with you and your cousin?
All right. Well, first let me say the
Yeah.
8 of us that are going, we're splitting off into 2 camps about a mile apart. We're
Yep.
we're we're selecting 2 different areas, so that gives us a better chance of getting evidence, and it's going to be less stressful on them having smaller camp groups and 8 people in one area. We're more likely going to
Right.
get interaction that way, cooking in 2 different places and whatnot. But my cousin, he was never a believer, but he humored me. My uncle and him owned a little parcel, a little land out here in this national forest area. No electric, no water, nothing. Nothing runs out here, man. People own there's a few little lots that the state sold,
Mm.
and people rarely go there. So he had this lot, and I went and had to pick him up one day out there. I'd never been there, didn't even know he had it. And I'm looking around, and I'm amazed at what I'm seeing. You know, driving 5 miles in down a 2-track trail that if another vehicle comes, you actually have to find a place to get off the trail to get by each other, like 5 miles in. And so I'm amazed by this and what I found. So I brought up to him, I'm like, there's like, this is a great Bigfoot area. And so by me realizing that and knowing, I started going there a lot. I mean, we were going there every weekend for, jeez, man, 3 months. I went there every weekend and researched the area and found some of the craziest structures and glyphs. And, you know, like we'd be at camp one night and I've just been to this spot, and then the next morning get up and there's like a gigantic glyph of all interwoven branches up in a tree right there next to camp. Um, I can't say I never had a daylight sighting there. I've gotten photos there where I've caught them on film by filming background and stuff where they're in the woods watching. Um, have seen them at night on a couple occasions. One time it was blue eye glow, and on that night, you know, I pointed out my cousin panicked. I didn't even know he had one of my guns because my guns were in the camper. He had one on him. Just took it. We're out in the woods. He figured he'd camping. We're at the campsite. He figured he'd have it on him. Didn't even ask me. And when I pointed it out, all of a sudden he started shooting in the air.
Gee.
Which, yeah, dumb, man.
So how'd that?
They're getting close to us, and now you're going to go do that. And so, you know, I am so pissed off at my cousin. I mean, I really am. I'm about to move. You know, he's about to move into my house. I'm about to help him out. He's out here living. He's basically homeless, living in a camper in the woods, and he goes and pulls that. Well, he gets so pissed at me. He's like, "Well, F it. Says, let's just go out there. No guns, no flashlights. Come on." This is in October of 2016, I think, during the supermoon. Okay, this is the night of the supermoon that all this happened.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not joking about this. It was supermoon. I think it was 2016.
There's a few of them over those years. Yeah.
Maybe it was 2015.
Yeah.
But it was in October. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. I left the radio. I have a little radio. I left it up on full blast. Okay. It was on full blast the whole time anyways.
Mm.
But when we left, I left it on, which is smart. I didn't even think about leaving it on, but we just did when we left. We go walking out. I don't know. We get like, it's hard to say when you're walking in the dark, no flashlights and whatnot, how far you walk. We walked a while. And then all of a sudden, I look and I see something like move in the moonlight, and it's like leaning from behind a tree. And I like, Mike. After I see it move, Mike. That's my cousin's name. There's one right there. When I say that, the thing all of a sudden then steps out like right in front of us, like, and close, okay? Close. 50 feet at the max. Steps out right in front of us. And my eyes are just locked on it. I mean, I'm amazed. I already saw it move. I already saw it shape. And now it steps out from the tree and is standing right in front of me. 50, maybe even less. It's dark, but it's close. So here I am staring at. All of a sudden, he's freaking out. He's like, "Oh my God, something's wrong! Something's wrong! We gotta go!" And I'm still locked on this thing. Hearing my cousin saying, "I don't know what's wrong with me. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here." He's all panicking. And as I'm staring at this, what I believe was a Bigfoot, all of a sudden behind it, I see multiple other ones coming from both sides, back and forth, like crossing behind it. I mean, I don't know how many there were. It wasn't like there was a lot, but there were several that would cross back and forth behind it while I'm staring at it. So my cousin's like totally 100% freaking out. Finally, I'm like, okay. Turn around and I start following him out, and he's walking. And as I'm following him, because he's, I'm new to the area. He's supposed to know exactly where the hell he is.
He's the guide.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the guide, man. He's the one that has the property right there. So I'm following, and all of a sudden, as I'm following him, the noise is behind us, following us. I keep stopping it. I'm turning around because because it's like close, following us close, and I can clearly hear the footsteps, bipedal footsteps following us. So I keep turning around, and he keeps saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here." And I'm like, "Dude, they're following us." He says, I know. We got to get out of here. So then I turn around, I'd walk with him again. And then as soon as I start with my back turned to him and start walking, you could hear him following us. So I turned around, I don't know. Dude, this is like, by now, almost 3 years ago. I turned around 2 or 3 times before they quit following us. Eventually, once we got far enough away from them, they did. They totally quit following us.
Okay.
So now we're still like, I don't know, freaking half a mile, 3/4 of a mile into this woods still from the camper. And my cousin thinks he knows where he's going, and he's guiding us, and he's like, all of a sudden, I don't recognize this, man. I don't know where I am. So we keep walking. Then we hear my radio. That's why I'm glad I left it running.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, we got close enough to hear my radio. He was 1/4 of a mile too far north of the campsite. So, yeah, there's that story.
Yeah, and we're going right there for the expedition. Pretty close right by.
You just gave it away, man, dude. Spoiler alert.
We're going up around that spot, and it's gonna be good. We're gonna get some good evidence, guys. Chad's been, like I said, this story's been there, but he also was that the same area you sent me the audio? It was that same close by spot of
Yep.
up
right
there.
Right. That's going to be within 1/4 mile of where we set up camp.
Right, and I did my best to boost it up a little bit, and you can hear a response that you got.
Does it twice, back to back.
Yeah, it does right back to back. When I first listened to it, when I first heard it, I thought it was one long call. Then you pointed out 2, and you're all right. And so we're gonna go there. We're gonna have 8 teams, 2 camps. We're gonna have a lot of gear. Everyone's gonna have a camera, multiple night vision, multiple thermals.
We're gonna rent a Cessna just for cool video.
Yeah, well,
dude, it's gonna be $150 for that hour. We're gonna pay $150, and Blake is gonna fly with my photographer friend Kevin Coles. Him and Blake get to go up in the plane. I'll be on the ground. I'll wave to them when they fly over, and
That's the plan. But we're gonna get. The goal is to get some great evidence for everyone. We're trying to literally get the Patty shot. Really, that's my goal. But by the sounds of it, and how long we're gonna be there, camping. I mean, we're gonna camp in I picked the areas out. In my opinion, the one camp for sure is right.
The one camp's right in my spot.
Right in the spot, yeah, where you've. And then the other one,
camp I've never been to. I've never been to that area.
I picked it off the maps, and
what is that? About a half a mile south, right, of the one spot.
It's west. It'll be west. So
how far?
Half mile or 3/4 a mile or something.
South of where we're gonna camp.
But that's as the crow flies, so it's a little bit more when we actually have to walk it, and it's swampy area, big river systems, and there's gonna be, it's up north. There's gonna be black bears and So
Possible cougars, definite coyotes.
uh, yeah, maybe even a wolf or two. You never know.
I don't think so.
Well, no, but the DNR, they dropped some in on Royal Oak Island, I think, or whatever that one
Yeah.
is. Uh, the DNR, I've heard stories that they transport panthers and stuff and put them here in Michigan when they claim that there's not supposed to be any here. I've heard different stories of how they do different things. But anyways, our plan is to get some great evidence, and with the team and set up with the different camps, at least one of the camps should get activity. Uh, we're going to walk between camps uh, for a night investigation with the thermals and night vision. If the weather's good, uh, we should be able to, something. Uh,
And every night we're gonna at least alternate one person from one camp. You know,
yeah,
I
we're gonna
mean,
try to switch
it's
it up.
important.
So
Everybody gets to camp with each other. Everybody gets to,
we got a
we're
lot of
gonna.
ideas floating around still. It's still a couple months away, but we're excited for it. But we
I am.
got some good people. We got Chuck Sutherland supposed to show up. Bill Sowers.
Ernest Margo.
Yep.
And then
Tom.
Chris and
Tom.
Tom and
Yeah. Well, they're the ones from Michigan. We got some, the Michigan researchers, and they got all their gear set up.
we've got equipment.
We got equipment. We got people coming from Wisconsin. They get bringing some stuff. We're gonna get set up.
Do I got to MoneyGram you some money to buy a battery for that illuminator or what, man?
Oh no, well, I haven't tested it out yet. My bad. I got a night vision. Chad got me. I'm testing out for him and stuff. It works great, actually. I don't think I'm gonna go out tonight, but even if,
Work on that video tonight.
yeah, I've been working on this video for too long.
Weeks.
Too
2
long.
weeks.
Well, I shot it in 4K, and everything takes longer to do. Even
Oh.
just it's a headache. I'm using a different program, which doesn't help, but I'll put it out here. Probably be out in 80p, then I'll download the 4K one afterwards. It's a little easier to do it that way. So you guys will be able to watch where me and Chad, basically did a day hike out there. And it's just basically what we filmed and stuff. Nothing too special, but we got
Us
some
being
good
us.
stuff.
Right? It's just us being us.
Yeah,
Doing what we do.
really just us doing it, and I narrate a little bit, and we got some interesting things that I think you guys are gonna like, And unfortunately, Chad and James seen a skunk, and I wasn't filming. I kicked myself.
No spoiler alert.
Yeah, I know. Every day I kick myself reviewing this footage. But it was a good training lesson, but the good area that I think we can cultivate for some activity. And we're going to be going around a few places. Actually, Chad, real quick before we go.
Yeah.
You got, no, we won't give away too much, but you got an email from a person up in the UP somewhere that is having some trouble with she thinks a Sasquatch.
They don't know what it is.
They don't know
want
help. They want some help. Me and Chad might go up there. We might take someone else, possibly, if not. So we're going to see how that pans out. So we got a lot of stuff planned. I'm collaborating with multiple people. You're one of the people I'm collaborating with. James.
Chuck.
Yeah. We all got things going on, and
Hey, give Chuck a shout out, man. Time is
Chuck,
now.
Yep.
Time is now.
His page is Time Is Now. His Facebook group is Michigan Paranormal Hunters, I believe. He's having the Time Is Now Michigan Bigfoot Conference.
Was it in June or something? Or
it's
what?
in June. You can, if you look Time Is Now, go to his page. You'll be able to find it. Chuck Sutherland. He's a Michigan researcher. He's had a lot of experiences and has caught a number of things on video of structures and even some other paranormal things actually. So um, yeah, he's working with Bill Sowers and everyone else. So
You know, the conference last year, the big conference in Michigan,
there's a
Chuck,
few of them. Uh,
last year, Chuck picked up, um, who did, uh, who did he pick up? Oh my gosh, brain fart.
oh, Jeff.
Jeffrey Meldrum. Yeah, he picked
Yeah,
up
that was a couple
Jeff
years ago, I think.
Meldrum from the airport. Could you imagine getting to spend a couple hours with Jeff Meldrum
Oh
on
yeah,
the conference, and then he dropped Meldrum back off, I believe, to the airport. So he had just one-on-one time with Doctor
oh yeah.
Jeffrey Meldrum. I mean,
Yeah, Jeff's a
so
good guy, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's working a lot. He's busy. Got a lot of things going, like the conference, and he's out there. He's trying to get some evidence, like everyone else. So
then
you know,
he's got to run his business, man. He's a busy guy.
yeah, man. He's we all are. It's hard, but I think Michigan is in a place where a lot of researchers want to just get some great evidence, and I want to collaborate with people. A lot of people want to collaborate, so I think we're gonna have a big Michigan. I don't want to say team, but effort, Michigan research effort going on, where a lot of people are going to come in to collaborate, and we're going to get some evidence out this year for everyone.
2020, baby.
2020, we're going to put Michigan on the map even more. So, all right, folks, it's been been an hour. It was a good show with Chad, and we're gonna have you on because we're gonna be doing stuff in your area, and if so, we're gonna have you on again. I know you got a couple more stories that you didn't get into that you'll have to come on and tell us. So, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to add? Um, I
Hey,
know you don't.
peace be with you all, man. Uh,
You can find
even
Chad in a lot of Facebook groups. He doesn't have his own YouTube channel per se, but he's in a lot of groups. You can usually find him. You can find him in my group. Uh, so you're floating around out there in the community.
it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
All right, Chad. Thank you so much, and everyone. Thank you for tuning
Thanks
in.
for having me, Blake.
Content, of course, and so everyone have a good night, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Hey, one thing, Blake. One thing.
Yeah.
One of them whiskers on your beard is out of place, man. You better comb that sucker.
A little bit, a little bit. It's getting a little rowdy. Gotta groom it and take care of it a bit, but it helps with the squatches. I think I really it helps with the squatches. That's all I gotta say.
Hopefully, only the female squashes.
Yes, yes. Hopefully we'll get on camera. All right, folks. Tune in next week.